Shalom, 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 and welcome to another week of A Light to the Lost Sheep of the House of Yisrael. I'm your brother Makadai Yisrael, and today we're going to be talking about Black people. We have to stop this self-hate, and we're going to examine the Willie Lynch letter and cross-examine it with the curses that the Almighty put on Yisrael because of disobedience. Okay, with that said, let's give all praise and honor to the Almighty Yahweh in the name of his only begotten Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, the light of the world and our soon coming King, Redeemer, and Deliverer. Hallelujah. All right, so brothers and sisters, before I begin, if you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. It has been a little slow motion. We have some subscribers now. We up to 69. I want to get up to 75 at least before we start working on that 100 mark. You know, I know it's hard in these last days. A lot of people ain't checking for absolute Bible truth. You know, they don't want to hear the truth, you know. And that's why I wanted to go into this video. I prayed about it. You know, the Most High, he showed me some things. And I'm ready to go ahead and deliver this study to the people, because we're in a position now in 2022 where the hate is really, really high within the Black community. And I'm using that word because everybody in the Black community don't understand that we're Hebrew Israelites, most of us, you know, coming from the African diaspora. Most of us who were dropped off here in Virginia off of those slave ships, you know, we were Hebrew Israelites. Our ancestors was Hebrew Israelites. They spoke Hebrew. They knew that their master and creator was Yahweh, and his son was Yeshua HaMashiach. They knew that. And then, you know, from there, all the blasphemy and the lies started to take place, you know, the splitting up of families, you know, taking children out of their mother's arms, you know, and dividing them, the woman and the man, you know, putting this wall of tension up between the Black man and the Black woman. And so all of this stuff we're going to talk about today. Before I begin, I'm going to play a small video, and it kind of goes into the premise of what I'm trying to relate here today. All right, let me cue it up for you.
They look alike. They walk alike. They dress alike. They even rap alike. If you listen to their songs, those who are involved in the rap groups, they're killing what they see in the mirror. You know why? Because we failed them. We failed them. They don't love themselves. Because if they love themselves, they wouldn't shoot somebody who looked just like them, who act just like them, who walk just like them, who have the same swag that they have. They're killing themselves, brother. We got to teach them to love again.
All right, so you see right there, he's describing, you know, the way things are with the Black man. You know, we hate against those that look like us, that rap like us, that dress like us. You know, and one thing that the master said, this is in Matthew 24. I'm not going to put it on the screen yet, but in Matthew 24:12, he says, and because of iniquity shall abound, meaning because iniquity is going to, you know, grow and grow and grow in these last days, because Matthew 24 is basically him prophesizing about the last days. The love of many shall wax cold. And that's exactly where we are today. The love of many is waxing very, very cold, especially towards our own. Okay. Now, of course, Christianity taught us that we're supposed to love everybody. Okay. But that's not the true message of the Bible. Okay. And I know a lot of you are probably going to hear this and turn off the video, but that is the absolute truth. And we're going to get into that as well. We're going to prove that today as well. That's not the message of the Bible. Is not to love everybody. We're not supposed to love people that hate the Almighty. What sense does that make? We don't love people that hate against our nation, who are our true rightful enemies. So we're going to break down who our actual enemies really are. And again, and because of iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. We're going to talk about this today. All right. So with that said, I'm going to start off with a couple scriptures here in the, I'm going to go to the King James Version. briefly. Let me put my specs on. Y'all know Brother Macadai is a little blind, you know. 1 second. Let me get a little cloth here and wipe my glasses off. You know, I'm nearsighted, for those who don't know. I've been wearing glasses most of my life. You know, when I was young, I tried to be cool and not wear my glasses. I have tried contact lenses. They're not for me, especially because I work in construction. And, you know, in construction, you're working all day with your hands. Your hands get real dirty and gritty. And, you know, dealing with contacts, it was too much for me. I was ripping them left and right. So I am a glasses type of guy. And I need them. I need them to see. So with that said, right here, we're going to start off in Genesis chapter 1 and 26, something that the Almighty and his Mashiach said when they were creating man. Okay. This is very, very important because they made man in their image. It says right here in verse 26, and Yahweh or Elohim in the Hebrew. All right. We don't use the English translations because we believe that blasphemes Yahweh's name. But right here it says, Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them, have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. So Yahweh created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them. All right. So we see it right here that man and woman was created in the image of Yahweh. Now we could say that, yeah, Yahweh created the man first, but that's a whole different conversation. But we can have that in the back of our mind for this discussion because we got to understand. If you missed my video last week, go back and watch with me and Brother Betzoel on Yahweh's hierarchy being destroyed, because there's a hierarchy of Yahweh, Yahshua, man, woman, the Hebrews, children, then the Gentiles, and then the angels. Okay, that was the hierarchy, the way it was supposed to be. But now we know that hierarchy is destroyed, and the Hebrew man is at the bottom and last. So if you haven't watched that video, I suggest you go ahead and take a look at it, and we can go into that. So let's go into, we're going to go into the book of Leviticus. What I'm going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and start the Willie Lynch letter. As the title reads, we're going to go into the Willie Lynch letter, and we're going to cross-examine it with some of the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28. But let's go into Leviticus. Let's see, Leviticus 19. And we're going to go down to verse 17. All right. Here we go. And it reads, thou shalt, this is a commandment by the Almighty Yahweh, okay, that he gave to Moshe to give to the children of Israel. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall in any wise rebuke your neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, so you got to love your neighbor. You cannot hate your brother. You cannot hate your sister. You know, y'all, some of you sisters, y'all watch those reality shows with Atlanta Housewives and Housewives of Potomac, Maryland, and what are some of the other ones? Basketball Wives and all of this stuff. But these women actually hate each other. They're always fighting. They always gossiping. They always bickering. You know, even though you're not particularly taking part in that, you are supposed to be set apart and supposed to be away from that stuff. You're not supposed to be watching that stuff, okay? Because it's self-hate. And you know what? Before I go on to my next scripture, let's define what self-hate is, okay? I'm gonna define it off of the internet real quick, and then I'm gonna give my own spin on it. Okay, and this is what they have: hatred directed towards oneself, rather than towards others. Self-hatred, humans need self-love, not self-hate, but when you have a disorder which makes you antisocial, it's hard to be kind to yourself. Now, think of this in the context of this study here. All right. Hatred towards oneself. So, this is what this is all about. This is about, listen, Yahweh created us in his image. We are the image of Yahweh. So, when you hate your brother, or sisters, when you hate your sisters, or sisters, when you hate your husband, and husbands, when you hate your wives, all of this, then you are hating Yahweh. Okay? Because Yahweh made us in his image. That is the self-hate that I'm talking about here. Okay? Hatred directed towards oneself. Image of you. Okay? He looks just like you. All right? I've seen a little bit of buffering, so if it's buffering, please excuse me. Y'all. But this is hatred towards oneself rather than towards others. See? So we so quick to hate ourselves. We're really submissive. We're docile. We don't want to go against the white man. We don't want to go against the Asian man. We don't want to go against the Arab, even though all these people are in your communities making money off of your back, disrespecting you, but you much rather disrespect your brother and your sister than our true enemies. Now, I'm not saying just go out and just hate random people that's working in your community. I'm not saying that. But a lot of times they are very disrespectful towards us. You know, we had that thing not too long ago, Stop the Asian Hate. But do y'all see how they treat us? Us. How disrespectful are they towards us? What are they selling us? Poison. Okay? Their food is poison. It's filled with salts and MSG, and, you know, I could go on and on about the videos which we caught these Asian people doing to the food and where they get the food and what's actually in the food. But this is what I want to go into today. I want to go into our self-hate that we have towards one another. All right. This ain't time to point the finger at other nations. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm simply here trying to point out that this is what self-hate is. You know, we're real quick to dismiss our brothers and sisters. But when it comes to the white man, we get right in line. Yes, sir. And why is that? We're going to examine that in the Willie letter. I got one more scripture I want to bring out. And we're going to go ahead and begin. It's right here in 1 John. Where I'm at. 1 John 3. 1 John 3. Let me make it bigger for you. 1 John 3:15 reads, "Whosoever hates his brother is a murderer, and you know that no murderer has eternal life abiding in him." So you see how serious this matter is, brothers and sisters? If you hate your brother in your heart, or you hate your sister in your heart, right here, through the Ruach HaKodesh, through the prophet Yachanan, Yahweh is saying that if you hate your brother, you are a murderer. All right? This is why Yahweh wants us to forgive each other. He doesn't want us harboring hate on our heart. You know, if you got any problem with anybody in your family, anybody in your circle, any body in your nation, go ahead and forgive them. Find it in your heart to forgive them. Work on that. Because if you do not forgive them, your chances of getting into the kingdom, as it reads right here, is going to be really, really tested. Okay? Now, I ain't going to say you not. All I'm saying is, according to this scripture, this basically is saying that you know that no murderer has eternal life abiding in him. Okay? Now, we know Yahweh said he will forgive all things except for blasphemy against the Ruach HaKodesh. But you got to repent and you got to turn to Yahweh and you got to forgive. You got to get that hate out of your heart. You know, I know people that we used to worship with. Me and brother Betzoel that's still harboring hate towards us. Yeah, I said it. We've tried to clear the air, so to speak. Even though we wasn't wrong, but we tried to clear the air anyway. But that self-hate is still there. That self-hate is still there. What kind of heart is that that's not willing to make amends with his brother? We are the only people on this planet that is willing to fight the same soldiers that look just like you. Look in the mirror. You fighting your own brothers that's on the front lines with you. You doing the work for the enemy for himself. We got to turn away from this. Man, I grew up in Baltimore City. I had to fight growing up. I can't even tell you how many fights I got in my old neighborhood growing up. But one thing about it, when we were growing up, we would fight and then we would be friends again the next day or the next week. Start playing basketball again together, riding out bikes together. Nowadays, you get into a fight with somebody in your neighborhood, you're going to get blown away. They're going to kill you. These young dudes in Baltimore City do not play around. These young kids in Chicago, these young children in Chicago do not play around. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I can name so many different hoods. Go to Compton, California. Over there with the Crips and the Bloods. They will blow you away if you're not from their set. Is this the way that it's supposed to be? Man, we got to do better than this. All right, so with that said, let me go ahead and remove this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this ready. And let me go ahead and, you know what I'm going to do? Let me take this off. And we're going to go into the Willie Lynch letter. Hold on, let me do it like this because I want to be able to navigate between the two. Hold on, let me do it like this. All right. I want to navigate between the two so I can be able to read. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read my Willie Lynch letter. I got it right here. And their copy is a little bit different than mine. So please bear with me as I navigate this thing. All right. Let me go up there. They have a little short introductory. We can read that real quick. It says, the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave is a study of the scientific process of man breaking and slave making. It describes the rationale and the results of Anglo-Saxons' ideas and methods of ensuring the master/slave relationship, written by white slave owner Willie Lynch in 1712. Okay. Now, many people say that this letter is made up. Some people say it's not. I'm not here to debate that, but what I'm here to do is take the information out of this book and cross-reference it with the curses that Yahweh put on our people for the disobedience. He made a covenant with us at Mount Horeb, at Mount Sinai. He made a covenant with our ancestors and with us that are alive today. Yes, he made that covenant with you, black man, woman, and child. And if the stranger wants to cleave to the covenant, he has a great invitation, but you have to repent and you have to cleave to Yisrael and be grafted in. It's a process. You can't just create a religion and then expect to be a part of the covenant. It doesn't work that way. All right. You guys have to read your Bibles. It's all in the book. Okay. Because if you're going by what your religion say, then basically you're taking the word of a man that created your religion or your form of idolatry over the way Yahweh ordered us to do it. All right. We can't do it that way. We have to do it according to thus saith Yahweh. All right. All right. So with that said, excuse me, had to take a little, mouth get a little dry sometime. I'm going to read the introductory to mine. It's not that long. And the Willie Lynch letter really isn't that long. So please, I know people attention spans isn't that long. And that's one more thing before I begin. Brothers and sisters, we have to pay attention more. And I'm speaking to everybody in the black community. We have to pay attention. I can't tell you and stress to you enough how much we do not pay attention in the black community. I give you a prime example, but it's much deeper than this. I was looking at a video meme the other day a sister had made, and it was of that series called Them, when Livy, she basically was on her way in the house with her daughter. For those who haven't seen the series Them, it's on Prime. Please go watch that. Wonderful, wonderful show. It's a drama / horror type of series, but it is very, very good, and it's very, very truthful, and it's dropping a lot of hidden messages in there. So basically what happened is she was on her way in the house, and before the video started, the meme creator put the title where it was from and gave the context of what was going on, and she played the video. So Livy's on her way in the house with her daughter, and the white lady that lived across the street basically called her Nigger, right? So Livy stopped, told her daughter, wait right here, baby. Went over there and got with her, pretty much, all right? So the reason I'm bringing this up, I say that we don't pay attention, is because all throughout the comments, everybody is asking her, what is this from? She already gave it to you at the beginning of the video if you had paid attention. See, black people are very visual people. We're very visual, and to be honest with you, we're kind of lazy. We kind of want people to tell us what's going on instead of searching it out for ourselves, and that's what we have to do. I hope I'm not offending nobody. I'm just speaking truth. We have to be able to start getting into the position where we have to start searching things out for ourselves and stop depending on other people, other nations to try to point the way for us. All right? Because when we start looking towards other people, basically we're looking towards their ideology of the way things are supposed to be for us. All right? Now, we know we already dealing with a lot of propaganda in these last days. And what is propaganda? Propaganda is the device that they try to use to manipulate you into thinking how they want you to think, to follow their ideology. All right? How do they do that? They do it through news, media. They do it through the movies, through music. And they're basically coercing you to follow their agenda. All right? They do it in such a really, really unique, slick way that we don't even see what's going on. We think that the government is here to serve the people. It's not. It's not. We've talked about this before and talked about the elite before. The government is there to serve the elite's best interests, not the best interests of the people. Okay? But what they want you to do is they want you to remain submissive. They want you to remain, chill, put on ice, because, we have the numbers, and because we have the numbers, if we really woke up to the truth, we could overtake the world. But that's why they feed us this propaganda and keep us on ice. They let you know that, hey, Russia is the bad guy. Okay, Ukraine is the innocent little country. Man, these are the same people. Now, I ain't saying that Russia ain't over there doing something. I ain't saying that Ukraine ain't over there fighting back. I ain't saying nothing because I ain't over there. But all I know is everything that we know is coming from their propaganda. Everything. Don't try to lie and say somebody that's over there, that's going through it right now. You only know from what you see on their media outlets. And what I mean there, I mean the elite, because the elite own the news. They own social media. They own everything. So they want you to think how they want you to think and react how they want you to react. This self-hate thing is bad. I'm telling y'all. I put up, and then I'm gonna get to this. I put up some information on the war. Okay, not being what y'all think it is. And, a brother that, been on my friends list, he's an associate. I wouldn't say that we're friends, but we're brothers. He's an Israelite and I'm an Israelite. But he got in his feelings because he came to try to refute the information I was putting out, which is fine. You can challenge the information, but did you do your research first? That's the question. See, we're so quick to start mouthing off on somebody because of the emotions and how we feel in our heart. But what does your research say? What does the data say? All right. Did you fact check anything? Did you actually look into this? So he got into his feelings, then he started resorting to basically name calling. I didn't call him no name except for after the end, after I was attacked. And even with that, I ended up deleting it because that's not the way I want to be. Even though I was attacked, I shouldn't want to resort to retaliation, because at the end of the day, Yahweh says that vengeance belongs to him. And this is somebody who really didn't know, and me being the more awakened brother, I should have just stopped it short before it started to escalate, which I actually tried to do. I tried, but you know, Yisrael, we still got a lot of this. And the old me would have handled it a lot different. So, even still, it's sad that, even in these last days, awakened Israelites can't even get along with each other. Christians can't get along with each other. Our women can't get along with each other. Our men cannot get along with each other. And our children just cannot play together. I'm telling y'all, it's really, really bad. With that said, let's go ahead and start reading this. I'm going to read, let's bring this up. Before we read here, though, what's on this, I'm going to read the introductory that's in my book right here. See the little slave ship? This is what mine read. This is the Willie Lynch letter. It says, the first Africans, and I put in parentheses Hebrew Israelites in America, and then I put in parentheses the daughter of Babylon, because that's what this is. This captivity is in the daughter of Babylon. Arrived through Jamestown, Virginia in 1619 as indentured labor or servants. And I put slaves because that's what they were. Don't try to down talk it. But in context, that's what they're saying, and then they're going to basically say, then we ended up becoming slaves through legislation. From about 1619 to 1640, the laws throughout Europe and the Americas removed all human individuality from abducted Africans and named them property. The United States Supreme Court and Chief Justices like Roger B. Taney ensured that the law did not protect slaves, but imbued their white oppressors who physically, mentally, and psychologically abused them with full supremacy. We all know that's what happened. And bold, they got no Negro, whether slave or free, could ever be considered a citizen of the United States, the Honorable Judge wrote. And that's because we know in their United States Constitution, they have it that we are, 3/5 of a man? Let's further read on. In 1640, Maryland became the first colony to be institutionalized. In 1640, Maryland became the first colony to institutionalize slavery in America, and in 1641, Massachusetts, in its written legislation titled Body of Liberty, stated that bondage was legal servitude. At that moment, changing the status of the African hostages to automatic chattel slaves that could be bought and sold at the discretion of their white owners. So this is around 1640. So they're saying that this is the moment that these indentured servants or laborers became legal slaves for their masters to do whatever they want and treat them like property. Where did this happen at? You know, I'm based in Baltimore, Maryland. So they said Maryland became the first colony to institutionalize slavery in America. So for all my people that follow me that's from Maryland, you hear that? Your old beautiful town, Maryland. See, a lot of us love Maryland. A lot of us love Baltimore. A lot of us love the United States. This is not our home. This is our captivity. This is the home of our captivity. Our ancestors brought here captive, and we were born into this servitude. Excuse me. And many of you can say, well, I'm not a slave. I'm not serving nobody. That's not true. You are a slave. You're a slave to that system. You pay that taxes. You know, you pay that income taxes, their land taxes, property taxes, all kinds of taxes. Phone tax, water tax, toll tax, sale tax, can go on and on, but not even by the tax, not even by taxes. You know, you never really own any land. You know, having a mortgage and having a car note isn't wealth. Okay, I seen a meme today. I should have saved this so I can play it for y'all. And in this meme, basically they were saying it was from Black Wall Street. They were saying that, you know, and they named 10 major cities where black people had accumulated good wealth. But that's not true. Baltimore City was on that list. Baltimore City, black people in Baltimore City don't have any wealth. I know this. I serve Baltimore City. Most of my clients is in Baltimore City, or in Baltimore County and Baltimore City. I do the surrounding counties too. We service the surrounding counties as well, but Baltimore City and Baltimore County is my two major jurisdictions that I service. And let me tell you something. Baltimore City is the worst. Our people in Baltimore City have the worst conditions. We are really, really doing bad. I'm not going to try to embarrass anybody, but I've been in some bad conditions and I'm servicing people's houses. All right? Our people are poor out here. Now, we got some people that are successful, but the number is not that great compared to the number of people that are in the poor conditions. We got to stop this lie. Let's go ahead and move on. Y'all hear my chair squeaking? I got to get a new chair. Ain't no shame in my game. You know, I'm not putting on no front for YouTube or anything else. This is who I am. You know what I'm saying? I got this chair. I done had this chair. How long we had this chair? A very long time. It's a little squeaky now, especially with my big frame on it. You know, I'm trying to lose weight. Let's read on. The Willie Lynch letter. All right, so right here, I think this is where it's about to pick up right here. This is what they say. So I've read my introduction. They read, I thought this was the most appropriate time for all of us to reread, remember, and never forget the speech given by Willie Lynch, a slave owner who over 300 years ago devised a plan to help keep black people divided. All right, so this is what it reads here. And hopefully, because I'm going to be reading out of my book and I can try to keep up with you. It says, gentlemen, I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our master, or our Lord. And I put Shaitan in the parentheses because that's exactly who the master is of those who came and colonized this land. It was driven by the spirit of Shaitan, YAHSHUA, the adversary. It wasn't Yahweh. It wasn't Yahweh. All right. Yahweh is not their master. They don't serve Yahweh. They serve the Lord. And what does the Lord, if you watched my video last week, translates as Baal. Baal is the Lord. That's Shaitan. All right. 1712. All right. So that was the year. 1712 CE. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. All right. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us in my program if my program is implemented. Okay, and we know Rome is the ones that started Christianity. For all you who don't know, the Romans started Roman Catholicism. That's the mother of all Christianity. That's an absolute fact. We can't tiptoe around it. We can't try to lie our way out of it. The Romans are the creators of the Christian religion. All right. And they are the ones that came. These are descendants of the Romans. These are the descendants of those people that came out of the Caucasus Mountains. All right. And then started taking over the land in Europe. They're all the same people. All right. Now, if you're a white person tuning in, nobody's trying to take shots at you. We're just trying to say the absolute fact. Okay. That's why you are called Caucasian. Your ancestors came from the Caucasus Mountain region and migrated into all those different parts of Europe. All right. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. Why would Rome envy them? Because Rome was a captivity of the Israelites, just like the transatlantic or the American captivity is one as well. Okay. All right. So it reads, as our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, they're talking about King James, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its old highway in great numbers, you here are using the tree and the rope on occasion. That's a lie right there. It's a truth and a lie at the same time. And the reason why I say that is because it's what it's saying is, while Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its old highways, then it says you here are using the tree and the rope. No, they use the tree in Rome and they use the tree here as well. And let's prove it right now. Let me switch my tab. Let me go to Acts chapter 10. And where do I want to go? Let's go up to, here we go. All right. Here you go, right here. Acts chapter 10. Let me start at 38. How Yahweh anointed Yeshua of Nazareth with the Ruach HaKodesh and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil. For Yahweh was with him. Okay? That's why Yeshua came. He came to heal those who are oppressed of the devil, the wicked one. All right? He came to liberate his people. And we are witnesses of all things which he did, both in the land of the Yahudim and in Jerusalem, whom they slew and hanged on a tree. All right? Yeshua was hung on a tree, just like all his people are being hung on trees here in slavery and Jim Crow, and still to this day. Still got people being hung on trees. You know, you read about it in the media here and there, but now, even instead of using a tree, they use that, what do they call it? The gun, the gat, the steel, the blicky, the banger. They use weapons to kill us. They use medical experimentation to kill us. They kill us with their food. They kill us with the water. There's so many devices that they use now. You know, trees represent life. That's why when you hang somebody on a tree, you are putting a curse on them. Okay? Because you're hanging death on life. You're putting a curse on that tree. All right? That's why in the book of Deuteronomy it says that a person can't hang on a tree all day, because he will definitely become a curse. You know? All right, let me switch tabs back. I mean, something happened here too. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Stop sharing. Share this tab instead. All right, here we go. All right, so we back at this. Let's go ahead and continue reading. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple of miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you are having uprisings. Slaves are running away. Your crops are sometimes left in the field too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires. Your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate your problems. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. And excuse me, I guess I didn't move it down. I tried to find a really good version to read along with. But it looks like this version. Let me see if I can find. If not, I had a backup version. Because it looked like this version actually doesn't have everything I have in it. So, I'm just going to go ahead and read on, and then when it catches up, I'll know the key words once it catches up. So, listen to this. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control your slaves for at least 300 years. You hear that? He's saying that if you do this correctly. Now, he just told you a few paragraphs ago, the year was 1712 CE, right? And he's saying that if you do this correctly, you'll be able to control your slaves for at least 300 years. 1712 plus 300 is 2012. That's today's time. That was 2012 was 10 years ago. So they saying at least any member of your family or your overseer can use it. All right, here's where I see now. This is where it picks up at. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. Let me stop right there for a minute. Did you hear what he said? He uses fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. And that's us. Black man against black man. We fear each other. We don't trust each other. We envy each other. And I'm gonna give y'all a quick testimonial real quick. I had a brother that I grew up with. We've known each other since kindergarten. He was in my wedding. I loved this brother like he was really a blood brother, if not more. I'm not going to go into his own personal challenges in life. All I could say is, had his mom been alive, we lost her some years back, she would be really, really, really disappointed with the way he's turned out. And this is not me trying to beat up on him or anything like that, because we all have our devices that we need to repent from and come back to the truth of Yahweh. Long story short, y'all know I'm a small business owner. I'm an electrical contractor and electrician. And he was too. He's an electrician as well. And I tried to look out the best I can for this brother. Even took him along with me sometimes when I really didn't even have the work to really provide for him to keep things going. Construction is up and down sometimes. That's why you got to get it while it's good, while it's there. Sometimes during the wintertime, things slowed up and XYZ. But long story short, I would bring him on some of my jobs, and I would have superintendents and stuff come up to me and say, "Hey, man, Mark, what's wrong with your guy? Wow, what's going on? You need to go talk to him." So I go talk to him, and he wasn't right. He wasn't on his game. Like I said, I don't want to put his business out there. I don't want to do that. But he was doing some things that he shouldn't have been doing when you working on a construction site. We using power tools and all kinds of equipment and stuff like that. This happened several times. But what did it for me, because I loved him, I kept on allowing him chance after chance. But what did it to me is one day he came to me and basically told me, you know what, brother, you got your own thing going on here, and you're doing what you're doing, and I really envy you. He told me this to my face twice. So that was one time. He told me another time that he envied me. So what did he say? I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think upon them. Think about them. All right. So now we about to go into the list of things that he used to pit the slaves against each other. All right. So what did we see here? On the top of his list is age. But it is there only because it starts with an A. All right, so we're talking about age. That's a big difference in the black community. It's the younger generation don't respect the older generation. We don't respect our elderly like we supposed to. The second is color or shade. All right, we all know it was a big wave going on not too long ago. Dark skin versus light skin. We got to stop that foolishness. My mother light skin, and my complexion is a little darker. My sister's light skin. My complexion is a little darker. A lot of women in my family are red bones. But me, I got a cousin named Joey. Shout out to J9. He's dark skinned. Me, I'm dark skinned. One of my daughters, I know two of my children are like my complexion, and two of my children are lighter. So, it's absolutely asinine for anybody in the black community to fight over complexion. Here's, we were taught that our skin color wasn't good enough. And now here we are fighting over skin color within our own community. That's ridiculous. So color or shade, there is intelligence, size, sex, status on the plantation. Hold on, somebody trying to call me. I'm going to decline that. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. Color or shade, there's intelligence, size, sex, status on the plantation, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley or on a hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, is tall or short. That's another thing. We was told, especially our women, we was told that our hair wasn't pretty. Your hair's nappy, And what's the ironic thing about it all? Let's turn to it real quick, just because I'm thinking about it. Let's turn to it. Hold on. It kind of navigated off the screen. All right, so let's turn to it. Let's go to we're gonna go to Revelation 1. Let's go down to 14. Y'all know where I'm going. His head on his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. See, he's mad. Okay? He's mad at this point. That's because he's coming to deliver the wrath of Yahweh upon the earth. This is a vision in the last days when Yahshua is about to come back. And this is saying that his feet were unto fine brass, as if his feet was like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. And his voice was the sound of many waters. So he was a dark-skinned man with woolly hair. But yet he's saying, Willie Lynch is saying, he using these tactics to talk about our physical attributes and trying to use them against us. It's right there. Have fine, excuse me. I thought I put it back on the screen. Let me put it back on the screen. Share this tab. Right there. Have fine or coarse hair, or is tall or short. See, he used all this to put it against each other. And you know what people do in the black community? We like snapping on each other. Get your little short tail away from me. Man, look at his tall, slanky looking tail. And that's all we do is talk about each other. But the master tells us not to judge the outer appearance. That's a sin to do that. To snap on each other. I used to do it back in the day, but I've repented of that. I try my best not to worry about somebody's physical appearance. All right? Because everybody's unique. Everybody is different. You know, we're not all created the same, but we're all created in the image of Yahweh, though. So if we create in the image of Yahweh, when you snap on somebody that's the image of you, you're trying to, you know, criticize Yahweh's creation. That's what got Shaitan thrown out of the garden. Again, we just went into that last week. In last week's video. All right, let's keep on going. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on, and will become self-refueled and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. You hear that? So we already did the math for the 300 years, maybe even thousands. So this is how they started with the self-hate. This is how they taught us the hate against each other. What they say: age, color, intelligence, size, sex, status on the plantation, attitude towards owner, geographic location, the texture of your hair, whether and your stature. All of these different things they use for us to give that self-hate. All right, let me switch back again. Let me switch back again to my tab. All right, we're going to go to the curses now. We're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28. And then we're going to go up to 54. All right. Let me find 54. All right, here we go right here. All right. Those who haven't read the curses, these are the curses that Yahweh pronounced against us if we don't obey his laws, statutes, and commandments. He also has blessings that he will bestow upon us if we do listen to his voice and do his laws, statutes, and commandments. But the curses start at around verse 16. I usually say 15 because he basically makes the declaration at 15. And then the curses start from 15 on down to 68. All right. So this particular curse right here, Deuteronomy 28 and 54 reads, excuse me, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. This is prophecy. Excuse me. Y'all know this is happening today. The man is going to have an evil eye towards his brother. This is a curse. So you want to know why black men are butting heads with each other? This is exactly why. Because of disobedience to Yahweh. So now we have the spirit on us to go at each other. Okay? Well, when we navigating on social media, brothers and sisters, if we see something that we don't agree with, it's okay to voice your opinion, but it don't have to turn into a fight every time. We got to learn that. You know, a lot of times when I see stuff that I don't agree with, I don't even say anything. You know, I much rather just use my platform to try to put out as much truth as I possibly can, and eventually that person should catch on if they're paying attention to it. And if not, you know, long as they're striving, you know, the master is going to correct us all in that last day. He's going to correct us all. And his kingdom, if we are lucky enough to make it to his kingdom, we're going to learn. All right. Let's go to 56. Same thing, same premise. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter. All right. And it reads further down in 57, which we read last week. But this is the point I just wanted to make. These are the curses that's on us as a people. And this is why we have animosity towards each other. And a lot of times towards our children. And that's why, as you read in 54, it says the man that's tender among you, which he's going to leave his own children. You know, the father is not in the house in most of the black community houses. Our men are not in the houses. And then they're replaced with another man that's submissive to the woman of the house. The man is supposed to be the head of the house, the husband. All right, that's a commandment. Yahweh told us to leave the nest, leave our mother and father, and cleave to a wife, and you two shall become one. And the wife is supposed to learn from her husband at home. That's what the scriptures say. It says that the man is the head. But again, the man has been taken out. So then what happens is another submissive man comes into the house, the stepfather, and he has to do what the woman says. And he has no power to discipline the children in the house. And now your child is being raised by another man. And then a lot of times that child starts to grow up with animosity towards her father or his father and think that the father don't love you. No, that's not what it is. It's just that your parents could not get along and your parents failed you for whatever the circumstances was. And that's why it's so important for us in the black community to get married before you have children. We have to get married first before we have children. It's so important. All right, let's go ahead and move on because I don't want this to drag out. Let me switch back to the Willie Lynch letter. All right, so I just want to make sure that it's lining up. Okay, it's lining up right here. So it says, don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slave. We just talked about that. See? This is where that self-hate. They're working on making sure we have that self-hate towards each other. You know, the older generation versus the young generation. You know, the light skin versus the dark skin. As if we're a different race or something. No, we're the same people. You must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks. That's another thing that was taught. That's why white people, you know, this is a spiritual thing. White people spiritually hate black people. Okay? And I didn't say all white people, but the ones that hate black people, it's a spiritual hate. All right? Because y'all taught that. Y'all taught through the media. They paint us as thugs and criminals and crooks. Every movie that you put on TV, that's what we are portrayed as. All throughout time. coming up in the 70s with those black exploitation movies and stuff. We were hustlers, pimps, hoes, gangsters. You know, these are images that's being painted into the community's minds. All right. You must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks, but it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. That is exactly what we do today. Nobody want to take the word of Brother Makadai Israel. Y'all want to take the word of the media, the news media. I tell you that something flaky is going on over there in Russia and Ukraine, and you as an Israelite turn your back on me. And I'm trying to tell you what it is. Maybe it's something that you didn't see, my brother. That's what we do to each other. But you're quick to take the media, the same media that you tried to denounce back during the pandemic. But now all of a sudden, you trust everything they saying about this Russia-Ukraine nonsense. You are a fake and a phony. You know who I'm talking about. He know who I'm talking about. And I'm pretty sure he gonna peep in on my video. You are fake as hell, brother. But you know what? It's all good, brother, because at the end of the day, I still got love for you. I still got love for you. But it kind of gets to me because that right there is so fake to me. You're so quick to trust the white man more than your own brother. You did no research. You didn't check into what I was saying first. It's just soon as a Hebrew Israelite puts something out and be like, shalom, brothers and sisters, have a good day. Where's that in the Bible? Where does it say have a good day in the Bible? It says shalom in the Bible. You can't say nothing to a Hebrew Israelite. Or it's gloves is coming off. That's us. We are cursed, brothers and sisters. We better pay attention and we better wake up to this truth, man. Sorry about that too. I didn't scroll down. Where it said basically it said overseers just trust all blacks, but it is necessary that the slaves trust and depend on us. And on this version here on the computer, they don't have the part that I have right here. It says they must love, respect, and trust only us. And then this last part is in my book. It says, gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. All right. So this looks like a part. Let me see. Because I want to make sure I pick up where I'm reading at so you can read along with me. And to be honest with you, all right, this is where I'm gonna be at because it was a lot of fluff in there. I did see Frederick Douglass name, but we're not gonna read all this. We're gonna stick to the Willie Lynch letter. And this is the part that reads, let's make a slave. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. Let's Make a Slave by Willie Lynch. The origin and development of a social being called the Negro. All right. Let us make a slave. What do we need? All right. First of all, we need a black. And you know, for the sake of this video, because I don't want YouTube to flag. I don't think they will. But just so that they don't flag my video, let's use another word for Nigger. First of all, we need a black. Let's use the word slave man. All right. Oh no, you know what? Let's use Negro. All right. Hopefully with Negro they won't flag, but let's see. Let's see. All right. First of all, we need a black Negro man and a pregnant Negro woman and her baby Negro boy. All right. And just real quick, I'm gonna show y'all something, brothers and sisters, in the Bible, real quick. Okay, because this ain't the first time when coming to America that we was called the Nigger. All right. Excuse me. Let me turn to it. Come on, come on. All right, let's go back to the blue letter. We're gonna go to the book of the Acts. Let's go to Acts 13. All right. So this is Acts 13. Listen to what it reads. Now there were in the assembly that was at Antioch. There was no such thing as church back then. That word church ain't come along until Christianity came along. But back then with the Hebrew Israelites, the word is kahal in the Hebrew. And that translates as assembly or gathering. So now there were in the gathering that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas. All right, let's name them: Barnabas and Simeon. That was called, y'all see it, Niger, Niger, and Lucius of Crene, and Manaen, which had been sought up with Herod the Tetrarch, and Shaul, or other words, Paul. All right. So these men was called Niger, right? All right. Let's look up that word. What does that word mean? Oh, hold on. I got to do it on this screen. Let's look it up. In the assembly and certain prophets, teachers, Barnabas, Simeon, I see it, was called Niger. Here it is right here. G356, excuse me, G3526, right here. And Niger, let's see how they pronouncing it. I can't hear nothing. I think it's because, hold on, it's on right here. I think if I do it, it's going to echo. So anyway, y'all see how it sound. I don't want to pronounce it because they're going to flag my video. But it's basically saying, let's go to the definition. Here's the outline biblical usage. Niger means black. All right. Niger of the Latin origin means black. Niger, a Christian, or I guess basically what they're saying is a Messianic Hebrew Israelite, because that's what they supplant that word with Christian is Messianic. All right, because that's what we are. We're Messianic Hebrew Israelites. All right, wasn't no such thing as Christianity back then. That's just an absolute fact. Christianity wasn't started till 325 A.D. by the Roman Emperor Constantine, and that's when that's around the time that he had a dream about the cross. We brought that out on one of our videos. He actually dreamt about the cross, and that became the sign of Christianity. So as you read earlier, Yahshua HaMashiach wasn't hung on a crucifix. He was hung on a tree. And the crucifix didn't come along until more than 300 years after that. So that's how you see that they perpetuate all these lies and deceit and this mystery of iniquity here. All right, so let's go back to the document. All right. So with the Negro boy, and we're going to pick up from there. Second, we will use the same basic principle that we use in breaking a horse, combined with some more sustaining factors. We reduce them from their natural state and nature, whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their needs and the needs of their offspring. We break them natural string of independence from them and thereby create a dependency state so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure. See? They took our independence from us and made us depend on them. So let's go to the scriptures. What does the curses say about this? All right. Let me turn to it. Go back to Deuteronomy and 28. And then I'm going to share my screen. Deuteronomy 28, share the screen. Let's go down to 48. All right. 48. All right. I thought I pushed share screen, but it didn't take. So let's push it again. Share screen. There we go. We're going to start 48 and we're going to read down to 50. It reads, therefore shalt you serve your enemies with which Yahweh shall send against you in hunger, in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he have destroyed you. Yahweh shall bring a nation against you from far, from one end, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose tongue you shall not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. That's a fierce nation. Don't we see that today? They have absolutely no regard for any of us, our men, our women, our children, our elderly, nobody. But what did verse 48 say? We shall serve our enemies, right? And that Yahweh going to send against us. And hunger, so that means we're going to have to get our food from them. And thirst, we got to get our water from them. And in nakedness, we got to get our clothing from them. Don't we buy everything from them? Now, you could say, okay, well, I got my own clothing line. Where you get your fabric from? Where you buy your tassels from? Where do you buy the materials from? Where you got your own garden? Where do you get your seeds from? Who owns the land? If it's in America, they own everything that's on this land, including your blacktail. Excuse me. I don't mean to put it that way, but hey, we got to keep it real. Even if you buy land, that's why I said we got mortgages and car notes. We don't own anything. This house right here, me and my wife bought this house. We got a little bit of land or whatever. It ain't nothing. It ain't much. But ultimately, we don't own it because we still got to pay taxes to them. They own this land. See, over in Africa, shout out to my brother Betzuel. He went over there. When you buy that land there, it's yours. But ultimately, all land belongs to Yahweh. This planet belongs to Yahweh. This planet ain't going to last forever. It's going to pass away. So we don't own none of this stuff. All right, let's go back to the letter. All right. All right, so it says, first of all, I think that's where we were at. Okay, so we finished this part. So now we're here for the cardinal principle for making a Negro. Excuse me. My allergy starting to mess with me. For fear that our future generations may not understand the principles of breaking both horses and men, we lay down the art. For if we are to sustain our basic economy, we must break both of the beasts together, the Negro and the horse. We understand the short. Hold on, let me make sure I'm on point with the document. That the short-range planning in economics results in, let me scroll up, periodic economic chaos, so that to avoid turmoil in the economy, it requires us to have breadth and depth in long-range comprehensive planning. Articulating both skill and sharp perception, we lay down the following principles for long-range comprehensive economic planning. One, let me scroll up again. Both horse and Negroes are no good to the economy in the wild or natural state. 2. Both must be broken and tied together for orderly production. All right. You know what they call that buck breaking. They broke the males, Negroes, and the horses. For orderly futures, special and particular attention must be paid to the female and the youngest offspring. Particular attention. Y'all know what that means, right? And we'll get into that even more. But you know the slave masters used to take the husbands' wives and stuff like that. Let's go to a scripture in Deuteronomy. Let me share this tab. All right, Deuteronomy 28 and 30. Let me go down to 30. What did it read? Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof. See, this is one of the curses. You know, when you came into slavery, you know, you're going to have wives. They still married, you know, back during chattel slavery, but another man laid with them. That's going on today as well. That, you know why it's going on today? Because when a Hebrew man goes to marry a woman, she's supposed to be a virgin. She's not supposed to have a lot of different bodies on her. She's supposed to be a virgin. All right. Technically, the man shouldn't have a lot of bodies on him as well. But, you know, the scriptures does stipulate certain things that the man can do as far as multiple wives and such. Back during the days of antiquity, you know, the actual 12 tribes came from, you know, Jacob having multiple wives. So we can't speak on that. But as far as the woman, you don't read nowhere in the scriptures where the woman had multiple husbands. You know, I do remember one parable that the woman had multiple husbands, but that was because the master was teaching something. But other than that, you don't normally see a woman having multiple men. All right. Going up in the womb, because the womb is a very sacred place on a woman. It's the most sacred place. All right. Let's go back to the document. All right. Share this tab instead. All right. Back to the document. Number 4 reads, both must be crossbred to produce a variety and division of labor. See, that's where the house Negroes come into play. You know, they had the lighter skinned Negroes would have jobs inside the house, where the darker ones was out in the field. You know, both must be taught to respond to a particular new language. All right. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. I think their count is. Oh no, I see what it is. They skipped one. Okay, so we got crossbred. Okay, for orderly futures, both must be broken. All right. Okay. I see what they did. One on my book. Let me see. See, my book is a little different. They have one starting with both horse and Negroes are no good in economy. So I have 6, but on here they have 5. Okay. So the last one reads, psychological and physical instruction of containment must be created for both. All right. We hold the above 6 cardinals as truth to be self-evident based upon the following discourse concerning the economics of breaking and tying the horse and Negro together, all inclusive of the 6 principles laid down above. And then it says, note, neither principles alone will suffice for good economics. All principles must be employed for the orderly good of the nation. Accordingly, both a wild horse and a wild natural Negro is dangerous even if captured, for they will have the tendency to seek their customary freedom, and in doing so might kill you in your sleep. Customary freedom. Look, all men should be free, but the stipulation is we as Hebrew Israelites should be free too, if we would have did what Yahweh told us and commanded us to do. But yet we still to this day will not turn to the commandments of Yahweh, the instructions. We will not turn to the instructions. That's, you see how messed up our minds are? You know, we try to preach this and sound the alarm day in and day out, but we will not turn to Yahweh as a people. We just will not do it. I wrote a note right here after reading this part about the customary freedom. Excuse me. I got a little gas pocket in my chest, a little bit of air there. And in doing so, they might kill you in your sleep. So I wrote a note right here, and it said that this is why they taught us Christianity, to love your enemies. All right. Let's go back to the scriptures. All right, let me get this up on the screen. All right. And we're going to go to Matthew. Let's see. Make sure I spelled it right this time. Matthew chapter, I'm going 5 first. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. We're going to go down to 44. All right. All right, so let's pay attention to this. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this video, it reads, Matthew chapter 5, verse 44. But I say unto you, love your enemies. All right, and this is what Christianity teaches, to love your enemies, right? Bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. All right. So on the surface, we read that, oh, we're supposed to love our enemies. Should Ukraine love Russia? Should our ancestors, the slaves, love the slave master? They taught them to. They taught them to. If somebody killed one of your children, should you love them? Like those people that dude, Dylan Roof came in there and shot all them people in that church. I think it was 9 people? And then some of the family got on there saying that we forgive him and all that. Man, y'all out of y'all daggone mind. Dylan Roof's supposed to get the edge of the sword, man. You see what this religion, this idolatry has taught us? Excuse me. All right, let's go ahead and disprove that this doctrine right here. Let's go to Mackay, and this is why Christianity told you don't believe in the Old Testament. All right, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Mackay and I'm gonna go back to the New Testament, so-called New Testament. All right, because this is where the ideology and understanding really resolves at. All right, this is Mackay, the prophet Mackay, chapter 7. Verse 6, for the son dishonors the father. The daughter rises up against her mother. The daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own house. Did you read that? Did you hear that? This is the enemies that the master is talking about. He's not talking about your actual enemies that's trying to hurt you. He's talking about the enemies as the people in your household. So a lot of times what happens is, especially in these last days, you know, let's take me for an example. You know, I turned to the truth years ago or whatever. And since then, I have family members who don't like the fact that I've turned to the truth. I'm not the old Mark. I'm not the old fun Mark anymore. I'm not the old Mark that would come out to the parties and cut a rug and drink and all that anymore. You know, these people are becoming like your enemies, okay? Because they don't like what you have to say, you know? Especially if you try to go against somebody that's in Christianity and you show them that ideology, that idolatry is wrong. Oh, yeah, they're gonna hate you for that one. Let's go into the precept. Let's go to Matthew. Where am I going? Matthew chapter 10. Matthew 10. I'm gonna go to 21 because I wrote it down. I got a couple of them I'm gonna go to. Matthew 10, and then I'm going to go down to 34. And it reads, and the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to put to death. So this is like in the last days, people going to be snitching on people. Some people are still going to be having that slave mentality that we're talking about, and still wanting to, cater to the people that are in charge in this land. When they come up against us with the mark of the beast and the world system and stuff like that. And if you don't, submit to it, you're going to have your own family members that's going to be giving you up, right? So let's go down to 34. And this is what the master said. Excuse me. I think I had a hair or something on my lip. The master said, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. See, Yahshua, everybody think Yahshua is some little docile, little humble, little, love everybody. No, that's not who Yahshua is. He's coming to bring a sword. He's coming to divide, okay? Let's read. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, right? A man's foes or enemies, for those that don't understand what that word foe means, shall be they of his own household. So there you have it. That's who an enemy is, okay? Let's stop thinking that loving our enemies mean love everybody. That's not what it means. Our enemies are those people of our flesh and blood. We're supposed to love them regardless, okay? And try to be a light to them the best we can. That's what that means, all right? Let's go back to the document so we can finish reading this, because we got a few more pages. I don't want this to be extra, extra, extra long. All right. All right. So right here, let me go up right here. You cannot rest. Right there. You cannot rest. So he's saying that basically if you're not watching them, they're going the Negroes, they're gonna want their customary freedom and might kill you in your sleep. So you cannot rest. They sleep while you are awake and are awake while you are asleep. They are dangerous near the family house, and it requires too much labor to watch them away from the house. Above all, you cannot get them to work in this natural state. Hence, both the horse and the Negro must be broken. That is, break them from one form of mental life to another. Keep the body and take the mind. That's basically what they're saying. Excuse me. Let me scroll up. All right. So in other words, break the will to resist. Now the breaking process is the same for the horse and the Negro, only slightly varying in degrees. But as we said before, you must keep your eye focused on the female and the offspring of the horse and the Negro. A brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generation of original breaking, but concentrate on future generations. Let me scroll up. Therefore, if you break the female, she will break the offspring in its early years of development, and when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you. And that's what we do in our community. Reading further, it says, for her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. For example, take the case of the wild stud horse. You hear that? The wild stud horse, okay? A female horse and an already infant horse, and compare the breaking process with two captured Negro males in their natural state. Let me scroll up. A pregnant Negro woman with her infant offspring. Take the stud horse, break him for limited containment, Completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you or anybody can ride her in comfort. Did you hear that? Break the female. He's telling the master to break the female, and that way, anytime you want to get anything out of her, pleasure, work, anything, you can do it comfortably. What kind of mind is in these people? Breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. The mare is the male horse, and the stud is the female horse. You know, during the process of this buck breaking and coming into this land, we started to get indoctrinated with our alternative lifestyles as well over time. And now the stud nowadays in our community is not our community, but in the LGBT community, the stud is a woman who wants to be the man. But here it's saying that you breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm sorry. The stud is the male, and the mare is the woman. Okay. But even still, same premise. Train the female horse, whereby she will eat out of your hand, and she will train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. And that's what happens. You know, the woman, you know, they got the man out of the house. The woman basically depends on the white man for everything. She gets her food stamps from the white man. She gets her daycare vouchers from the white man. She gets her medical assistance from the white man. And the man is put out of the house. And then again, she brings in other men, you know, temporarily, you know, for her own pleasure, or, you know, to try to get a relationship. But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work out because, you know, our hierarchy is so messed up. A lot of times our women have a tendency to look for love and they moving too fast. You know, again, your garden is a secret place. Your womb, you should not be just giving it away freely. You should be getting married and make a man work for that. You know, it would really stop a lot of problems if we only just married and then have children. If our women would only follow their husbands and then have children, you know, but the process is so broken up because of what these people have done to us and our own disobedience. We are at a point of no return, pretty much. The only hope for us now is to individually turn to Yahweh. You know, excuse me, some of us who do have families, husbands and wives, you know, you can still, you know, do this together, pray together and worship together. But, you know, individually, you have to repent of your own ways and turn to Yahweh and serve Yahweh with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength. Love him. All right. Turn to him and he will return to you. All right. So let's go ahead and continue reading. When it comes to breaking the uncivilized Negro, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of the mind. Take the meanest and take the meanest and most restless Negro, strip him of all his clothes in front of the remaining male Negroes, the female, and the Negro infant, tar and feather him, tie each leg to a different horse, faced in opposite directions, set him on fire, and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining Negroes. So this is part of the buck breaking process as well. Excuse me, I didn't did I scroll down? Yeah. That's part of the buck breaking process. Also part of the buck breaking process also was raping these males in front of some of the other slaves. Some of the men overseers would actually rape the men in front of the women and the children. You know, that's part of the buck breaking process. The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining Negro male to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Don't kill him, but put the fear of God in him, for he can be useful for the future breeding. And again, like I said, their God is not Yahweh. Their God is Shaitan. So put the fear of Shaitan in them, and that way that they don't want to do these, don't want to rebel in the future. All right. So now we're going to read about the breaking process of the African woman, or the Hebrew woman. All right. It says, take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way, because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any signs of resistance and submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of bitch out of her. These people have no respect for our woman. You see what I'm saying? They don't have no respect for our women, our men, our grandparents. They don't have no respect for anything. All right. And why I say these people, because this mentality still exists. I'm not saying that all white people are like that, but this mentality is still around to this day. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. All right. Did I go down? Okay, here it is. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, right, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in the breaking of the female Negro. We have reversed the relationships. In her natural uncivilized state, she would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized Negro male, and she would have a limited protective dependency towards her independent male offspring, and would raise female offspring to be dependent like her, right? So they're saying basically that the uncivilized state of the woman is dependency on the Hebrew man, right? That's how it's supposed to be, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis real quick. Let me switch my screen again. All right. Let's go to Genesis. I'm going to go to Genesis. Let me go to chapter 3. And we're going to go down to 15. So, as we know, Genesis 3 basically goes into the scolding that the word of Yahweh gave to Shaitan, the man, and the woman. All right, all three, because of their part that they played in introducing transgression into the world. And because of that, listen to what this says. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. So we all know this is a generational curse that's on every woman, not just the Hebrew woman, every woman on the planet, right? In sorrow you shall bring forth children. That means in your labor pains, and your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. Okay, so this is a commandment. And basically in every nation on the planet, most of the time the woman is submissive to the husband, especially in the Asian community, even in the white community, Indian community, the women are really, really submissive. But when it comes to the black community, our women really, really rebel. All right. But according to Yahweh's order, because of what y'all did, y'all have to let us lead. You have to let the man lead. And that's why a lot of women do, especially during this time, have that desire for the man to lead. but then we start to read that that was taught, you know, for her not to follow her husband, right? So let's go back to the document. All right. So I read, because I'm trying to therefore we shall go deeper, and I don't want to read the whole thing again. I'm trying to see where we at. All right, so right here, I found it. Nature had provided for this type of balance. We reverse nature by burning and pulling one civilized Negro apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed. So they're saying that they destroyed the male image. And they're basically saying they destroyed the image of Yahweh. And that's what they did. They destroyed the image of Yahweh and introduced a white image in Jesus Christ, right? And introduced them to Christianity as well back during this time. So they destroyed the image of the Negro. Wait a minute, I'm just trying to find out where I'm at here. Reverse, all in her presence, by her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed. The ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. And this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. Did you hear that? She is going to raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Let's finish this paragraph, and then I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy. Reverse roles. For fear of the young man's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. And that's a lot of our men now. A lot of our men are turned effeminate, to be our minds to be weak, to be submissive, to be feminine. All right. And then, you know, they still have the strength of the man inside of them. That's just like going and looking at people, black men in the LGBT community. They've lost their masculinity, but they're physically strong, because you see a lot of them that get into them fight. They still fight like men. All right. But they're feminized though, and effeminate. That's because the roles were reversed, and a lot of this was taught. And over time, generation after generation, it just multiplies and multiplies. You see how wicked this stuff is? You know, the scriptures tell us not that a man is not supposed to lie with a man, and a woman not supposed to lie with a woman. We're not going to make no excuses for it. We don't do that over here. All right. We don't submit to the LGBT community. We submit to the will of Yahweh. And Yahweh says that we're not supposed to do that nonsense. All right. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 17. All right, share this tab again. All right, Deuteronomy. All right, what'd I say? Chapter 23. Let's go down to 17. So this is what the scriptures say. Yahweh said that there should be no whore of the daughters of Yisrael, all right, nor a sodomite of the sons of Yisrael. See, this is the reverse roles here, all right. This is the reverse roles. The women are being turned out. Women not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be virgins. You're supposed to be pure and saving yourself for your husband. But our women are turned out to be whores now. Sleeping around, casual sex, going from one bed to the next. You know, you want to date a man, but you don't have to have sex with him. Excuse me. My wife's asking me a question. Let me just answer her real quick. All right. So going back to my point, let's go back to the document. Yeah, we are. This is the thing. Our women are not supposed to be whoring around in every man's bed. letting every man in your womb. And our men are not supposed to be sodomites. A sodomite, meaning homosexuality, being violated by another man in your body's natural waste system. You're not supposed to do that. Okay? I'm just trying to keep it real. I mean, it's a little vulgar, but I'm trying to keep it real. That's violence. That's violation. You're not supposed to do that. Okay? Let's go back to the document. All right, so that's because the roles were reversed. All right, that's what happens. All right, so now let me see, where am I at? And then they don't have their paragraphs broke up like me. To the point of death, being left alone, unprotected. Let's see, the words reversed. Okay, here you go. This is where we at now. Okay, it reads, because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent as well. What have you got? You've got the Negro woman out front and the Negro man behind and scared. This is a perfect situation for sound sleep and economics. And that's what happened. While people are asleep, the woman is in front and the Negro man is behind and scared. I've witnessed this too in a lot of different situations where the man is submissive to the wife and the wife is running the show. And every single time that happens, it causes problems. Every single time. And I'm not trying to beat up on the women. I'm not trying to beat up on the men. But the natural hierarchy of Yahweh is thrown upside down. It's not going to be like that in his kingdom. So if you want to get in his kingdom, you gotta get on point right now while you still can. Let's continue on. All right, so let me move up. We're right here before the breaking process. Before the breaking process, we had to be alert and on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. Wow. Do you understand how serious that statement is? That's exactly what happens now. The black woman stands guard for the white man, for her slave master. She sounds the alarm for the white man. She'll call the police on you. You want somebody to call the police on you, you don't need to be with them no more. They will come and kill you. You got somebody to call the police on you, that means they want you dead, man. Now, maybe back in the day, they could call the police on you, get you in check or whatever. Y'all getting a little heated or whatever. But nowadays, you can't do that. You call the police on somebody got to go. And 9 times out of 10, it's the black male, because they don't want the black male in the house anyway. He cannot get past her early infant slave molding process. He is a good tool, now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. By the time a Negro boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for a long life of sound and efficient work and the reproduction of a unit of good labor force. Back during this time, they used to wake up at like 3:30 in the morning, 3:30 a.m. and get right out there in that field and start picking that cotton. And they would be out there to the break of dawn. That is back-breaking work. Can you imagine? And then you're doing it and not even getting paid for it. You're doing it in a land you don't even want to be there. You're doing it around people that you don't even like. You're getting fed food that you don't even like. That's just scraps from unclean animals like pig guts and intestines and feet and all kinds of nonsense. Slop. It will feed you slop like you're the pig. The pig is the vacuum of the farm. But they were giving you slop like you were the pig. Like you were the vacuum of the farm. This is how much they cared about you. Let's see, where am I at on here? All right, we're here continually. Continually through the breaking of uncivilized, savage Negroes by throwing the Negro female savage into a frozen psychological state of independency. ain't that what they used to sing about? I'm an independent woman and all that stuff back in the day. What have you done for me lately? By killing the protective male image and by creating a submissive, dependent mind of the Negro male slave, we have created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever. Unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the positions of the male and female savages, we show what we mean by example. Take the case of the two economic slave units and examine them closely. They said unless a phenomenon occurs where the reshifts will happen, yeah, it's going to be a phenomenon that's going to occur or reoccur or reshifts. That's the second coming of YAHSHUA HaMashiach, because he's gonna put everything back into its rightful order. And if you're not down with it now, you better start getting down with it, because if you're not down with it now, how are you going to be down with it in his kingdom? These slave masters are already going to pay. The book already testifies to that. The question is, what are you going to do to come out of these conditions? Are you going to turn to Yahweh? Or are you going to stay asleep, depending on the government, depending on the very people that hate you, and take your chances doing nothing? That's not smart right there. That's not smart. All right, let's see. Where am I at? Again, they're running this together. So we show, let's see. Okay, I think I got it. Right here. We breed two Negro males with two Negro female. This is the Negro marriage unit. All right, so we getting down to it. Let's see. We got a few more pages to go. Not nothing real heavy. You know, I know this is going on to the 2-hour mark. And, you know, hopefully for those who stick around to hear all this, I hope I ain't boring you too much. But this is really important to talk about in these last days. And I'm going to play that video again at the end, you know, y'all willing, I remember. Because this is exactly how we are. We got to stop this self-hate and turn back to Yahweh. We really have to. There's no reason for any of us in these last days. Everything that we've been through as a people, we should not be fighting anymore. There's nothing to fight about. We have to unify. We have to. And when I say we, I mean everybody. Even the so-called awakened ones. Even the so-called shepherds who think that they're safe. Some of y'all hate more than anybody. We have to turn back to the ways of Yahweh and get that hate out of our heart, man. You know, a lot of you shepherds, you're going to get the greater condemnation. Turn to Yahweh. All right. We breed two Negro males with two Negro females. Then we take the Negro males away from them and keep them moving and working. This is still true today. This happens today. You keep them moving and working, and they don't really have, you know, during the course of the day, I take myself for an example. I'm at work all day. My wife at work all day. This is the economy that we live in. You know, some wives can stay home. It all depends on your circumstance. It all depends on your living arrangement. We have 2 children in the house. I got 2 other children outside. As far as a split family, we need money. All right, we need money. So we both work, and then by the time we get home and deal with the children, it's time to go to bed. We tired. This is what he's saying. He's keeping y'all working. Say the Negro female bears a Negro female and the other bears a Negro male. Both Negro females, being without influence of the Negro male image, frozen with an independent psychology, will raise their offspring into reverse positions. Let me see. Is that where I'm at on here? Yeah, right here. Here. Sorry. The one with the female offspring will teach her to be like herself, independent and negotiable. We negotiate with her, through her, by her, and negotiate her at will. That's what the black woman likes to do. Likes to negotiate, likes to talk, likes to challenge the male. Okay. The one with the Negro male offspring, she being frozen with a subconscious fear for his life. Let me see where I'm at here. I think I'm supposed to be down here somewhere. So for some reason, this one ain't lining up anymore. All right. So what I'll do is I'm gonna keep it right here, and I'll just read down. Possible, because I see this part here. I see this part. All right. I'll leave it right here and then start from there. I don't know how I got on that part, but anyway, I'll finish this part and then we'll pick up right here. All right. It says, the one with the Negro male offspring, she being frozen with a subconscious fear for his life, will raise him to be mentally dependent and weak, but physically strong. In other words, body over mind. The body's strong with a weak mind. That's a lot of our men today, because we don't read and we don't study this truth like we're supposed to. And you know, a lot of men are out there in the gym and all that and training up the body, but the mind is what we need to train up. Train up both then, you know, train up both. Train the body, be strong, and be prepared, you know, to be there for your family as things get more and more detrimental out here in society. But also make your mind strong, because you're going to have to be able to think. But if your mind is weak and submissive to the system, then all you're going to do is follow the enemy into a trap and have your family get caught up in the last day. You gotta search this stuff out and come out of these conditions, man. Now, in a few years, when their two offspring become fertile for early reproduction, we will mate and breed them and continue the cycle. That is good, sound, and long-range comprehensive planning. All right. So now we're back here. I got one more paragraph, then we'll be caught up on the screen. It says, warning, possible interloping negatives. Earlier, we talked about the non-economic good of the horse and the Negro in their wild and natural state. We talked out the principle of breaking and tying them together for orderly production. Furthermore, we talked about paying particular attention to the female savage and her offspring for orderly future planning. Then more recently, we stated that by reversing the positions of the male and the female savages, we had created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever unless phenomenon occurred and reshifted the positions of the male and the female savages. Our experts warned us about the possible, this is where we at now, about the possibility of this phenomenon occurring. For they said that the mind has a strong drive to correct and recorrect itself over a period of time, if it can touch some substantial original historical base. And they advised us that the best way to deal with this phenomenon is to shave off the brute's mental history. You hearing that? And create a multiplicity of phenomenon or illusions, so that each illusion will twirl in its own orbit, something akin to floating balls in a vacuum. All right. So they're giving us a false sense of history. So let's go to Deuteronomy. like I said, we got a few more pages left, and then we're going to be finished. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 28. Go back to Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to go to 28 first. And we're going to read 28. All right, so it says, Yahweh shall smite you with madness and with blindness and astonishment of heart. Okay, so that madness, that's that confusion of the mind. That's mental illness, okay? Blindness, he's going to blind you. Is he talking about physical blindness? No, that's not what he's talking about right here. What he's talking about is blind you from the truth of your identity, from the truth of where you actually came from, your inherited land, who you really are as the Israelites. He's going to blind you and give you astonishment of heart. Okay? Let's go down to 64 and 65. All right, 64 and 65. And it reads, and Yahweh shall scatter you among all people from the one end of the earth even to the other. And there you shall serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone. Don't you serve other gods here in America? Don't our brothers and sisters over there in India serve other gods and Hinduism and all that foolishness? Don't our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, down there in Jamaica, Rastafarians and Haile Selassie and all that stuff? What else? Islam with the Kaaba stone. It says wood and stone. What is the idol for Christianity? And is that wood cross? What is the idol for Islam? And isn't that Kaaba stone? Verse 65. And among these nations shall you find no ease, neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. But Yahweh shall give you there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before you, and you shall fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of their life. That's us here in America. We got a trembling heart. We got failing eyes. We got sorrow of mind because of the conditions that we are in. Do y'all see the conditions that we're in as a people? If you don't see it, you blind as hell. That's that blindness we just read about. Our people are out here suffering. All right? I see it, man. I see it. I don't even want to embarrass. That's why I said I don't want to say anything about anybody's living conditions and what they got, because I am in a lot of people's residences. I meet a lot of people, and I'm telling y'all, it is bad. Especially when you get into the city, there's some bad parts in the counties too. But when you go to Baltimore City, in the heart of Baltimore City, and them row houses, man, it is bad. All right. All right, let's go back to the document so we can finish this up. Because I've been going. How many pages I got? Got a couple more pages, then I'll be finished. All right. Let's move down. All right, let's see. Deal with this. The floating ball. Okay, here we go. Right here, this creation. This creation of a multiplicity of phenomenon or illusion entails the principles of crossbreeding the Negro. Sorry, I didn't switch the tab neither. Let me switch it back. All right, there we go. We're right here where it says the creation of a multiplicity. A phenomenon or illusions entails the principles of crossbreeding the Negro and the horse, as we stated above, the purpose of which is to create a diversified division of labor, the results of which is the severance of the points of original beginnings for each spherical illusion. Since we feel that the subject matter may get more complicated as we proceed in laying down our economic plan concerning the purpose, reason, and effect of crossbreeding horses and Negroes, we shall lay down the following definitional terms for future generations. All right, first, orbiting cycle means a thing turning in a given pattern. Axis means upon which or around which a body turns. Phenomenon means something beyond ordinary conception and inspires awe and wonder. Multiplicity means a great number. Sphere means a globe. 6 says crossbreeding. A horse means taking a horse and breeding it with an ass, and you get a dumb backward ass, long-headed mule that is not reproductive nor productive by itself. And that's a sin, by the way, brothers and sisters. We're not supposed to do that. Yahweh hates that. He hates that mixing stuff. He doesn't like doing that. Crossbreeding Negroes means taking so many drops of good white blood. You hear them? Good white blood. And putting them into a many Negro woman as possible, varying the drops by various tones that you want, and then letting them breed with each other until the circle of color appears as you desire. First and foremost, y'all came from the black woman. The black woman's womb birthed every nation on this planet, okay? And then something else mixed with y'all when y'all came out of them caves. Something else mixed with y'all blood when y'all mixed with Japheth's bloodline. All right, so don't sit here and say you're pure white blood, because your blood isn't pure. All right, white people? Scientists will even tell you you have Neanderthal DNA inside you. All right, so let's not go there, okay? But what we need to do as the white community, what y'all need to do is y'all need to humble yourself and follow the commandments and cleave the Israel and be quiet. That's what y'all need to do. All right? If you want this, you need to be quiet and follow the Hebrew Israelites. All right, let's go ahead and finish this. We getting there. What this means is this: put the Negroes and the horse in the breeding pot, mix some asses and some good white blood, and what do you get? You get a multiplicity of colors of ass backwards, unusual Negroes running tied to backwards ass, long-headed mules, and one productive of itself, the other sterile, the one constant, the other dying. We keep the Negro constant, for we may replace the mule for another tool. Both mule and Negro tied to each other, neither knowing where the other came from. Right? Slaves came here. They ain't know where they came from. They ain't know they came from the west coast of Africa, the Gold Coast, where they was getting all the gold, which was the slaves, that migrated there from the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD, and also from the Portugal and Spain captivities. Okay, came out of those captivities in Portugal and Spain and came there and migrated to the west coast of Africa in the kingdom of Judah. Okay, and neither productive for itself nor without each other. Okay, control language. Crossbreeding complicated for future severance from the original beginning. We must completely annihilate the mother tongue of both the Negro and the new mule and institute a new language that involves the new life's work of both. Language is a peculiar institution. It leads to the heart of a people. The more a foreigner knows about the language of another country, the more he is able to move through all levels of that society. That is so true. So with that said, it said that they must completely annihilate the mother tongue of the basically of the slaves, of the Negro male, all right, of the Negro and the mule. So what is the mother tongue? Let me go into the book of Jubilees real quick. All right, this is my pseudepigrapha right here. I'm gonna go to the book of Jubilees, chapter 12. The book of Jubilees should be in the canon. All right, it should be in the canon, but they took it out. Why? Who knows? But this is what it reads. I'm gonna read. This is the book. If you want to write this down, the book of Jubilees, chapter 12. This is verse 25 through 27, and it reads: "And Yahweh Elohim said to me, open his mouth and his ears, so that he might hear and speak with his mouth in the language which is revealed, because it ceased from the mouth of all of the sons of men from the day of the fall." Okay. "And I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Hebrew, in the tongue of creation." You hear that? And he took the Father's books, and they were written in Hebrew, and he copied them, and he began studying them thereafter. And I caused him to know everything which he was unable to understand, and he studied them in the 6 months of reign. Hallelujah. See, that's the language of the Israelites. It's Hebrew. All right. Don't let nobody tell you different. Yeah, we went into different captivities and we learned the language like of the Assyrians. We started to speak Aramaic and stuff like that. Then and during the Greek captivity, some of us started to learn Greek and Aramaic then as well too. But the Hebrews always maintained their original tongue throughout captivity. And we can testify that through the so-called renewed covenant books. You know, it says that Paul spoke in Hebrew tongue. YAHSHUA spoke in the Hebrew tongue. You know, so in as many instances, you know, there's a brother from the camp called Sakari, Deacon Haka. He recently did a video breakdown on the proof of Hebrew. I can't remember the exact name of the title. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I don't want to take up more time because I'm trying to go ahead and end this video. Let me go to it real quick and I'll tell you the name of it. All right. The name of his channel is called Deacon Destruction Mode. Let me see the video. It's not that long ago. Hold on.
Right? So the lingua franca
Hold
does
on.
not mean
I had to play it real quick because so I can get the whole name of it. So this is the whole name of the title of the video is Breaking, in parentheses, Proof the New Testament was originally written in Hebrew. All right. And he breaks down a lot of information about the proof of Hebrew in the New Testament, as well as all the apostles speaking Hebrew and everything else, like I just mentioned. So going back to you know, the language of creation, which is Hebrew. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and we got one paragraph here. It says, therefore, if the foreigner is an enemy of the country to the extent that he knows, let me move down, that he knows the body of the language, to the extent is the country vulnerable to attack or evasion of a foreign culture. For example, you take a slave. If you teach him all about your language, he will know all your secrets, and he is then no more a slave. For you can't fool him any longer, and having a fool is one of the basic ingredients of and incidents to the making of the slavery system. For example, where is this at? All right. So the rest of mine, I'm not really seeing it here. It looked like it's repeating. So again, this particular copy, I think it then copped out. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and finish reading this for you. It's not that much longer, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. You know, I thank you for your patience. Anybody who did make it to this end of this video, you know, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. We definitely need more subscribers. We thank you for your patience. Anybody who has subscribed to the page and shared our videos to help get this truth out to more of our brothers and sisters, we definitely thank you. May Yah bless you and your family and all those in your circle. And that's what it's all about. And you know, we need to learn to and I'm speaking of myself too. We need to learn to be more humble when we're dealing with each other, because there's a lot of hostility against each other. And this is in regards to the title of this. You know, we meet each other, and you know, if I speak to a brother, you know, that I just meet, or a lot of times my brother that works with me on a lot of my properties, you know, he's real friendly, and he likes to greet people and speak to them. You know, a lot of brothers, they get in that defensive mode right off jump. Like, you can't just go up to a brother and say, "Hey, brother, how you doing?" You know, a lot of people will speak back, and you know, the ones that are angry, the ones that don't want to speak back, I don't hold it against them. I just keep it moving. You know, but we got to do better in the Black community. We really got to. So let's go ahead and finish this. So it says, for example, if you were told a slave that he must perform in getting out our crops and he knows the language well, he would know that our crops didn't mean our crops, and the slavery system would break down, but he would relate on the basis of what our crops really meant. So you have to be careful in setting up new language, for the slave would soon be in your house, taken to you as man to man, and that is death to our economic system. In addition, the definition of words, of terms, are only a minute part of the process. Real quick example of that, what he was saying, that of our crops. That's like saying that this is our country. You know, like when they basically talking about our as their country, they're not including us. Okay, so when they saying our, they're speaking of our. Okay, meaning theirs. Okay, this is their kingdom. This is the kingdom of the a white American. This is not the Hebrew Israelite kingdom here. Our kingdom is to come with Yahshua HaMashiach. Okay, this is nothing more than the land of our captivity. Look at their prison system. Their prisons are filled with Israelites. Okay, their entire prison system. Yeah, it's a few others sprinkled in there. But answer this question: is their prisons filled with Jewish Israelites, the so-called Jewish man? No, it's not. All right. Is it filled with Asians? Is it filled with British? Is it filled with any other people? No, it's filled with Israelites. All right. And that's because of the curses. All right. Because of us being disobedient. All right. All right. Where was I at? It reads, in addition, the definition of words or terms are only a minute part of the process. Values are created and transported by communication through the body of the language. A total society has many interconnected value systems. All these values in the society have bridges of language to connect them for orderly working in the society, excuse me. But for these language bridges, these many value systems should or would sharply clash and cause internal strife or civil war. The degree of the conflict being determined by the multitude or magnitude of the issues or relative opposing strength in whatsoever for. For example, if you put a slave in a hog pen and train him to live there and incorporate in him to value it as a way of life completely, the biggest problem you would have out of him is that he would he would worry you about provisions to keep the hog pen clean or partially clean, or he might not worry you at all. On the other hand, if you put the same slave in the same hog pen and make a slip and incorporate them from something in his language whereby he comes to value a house more than he does his hog pen, you got a problem. He will soon be in your house. All right. So that ends the examination of the Willie Lynch letter, and cross-referencing it with the scriptures, the curses in Deuteronomy 28. Another thing that I want to show you in Deuteronomy 28 before I go, let me turn to it. All right, I see that one. 38. I'm gonna read 38 to you. And where's the other one at? Let me find it. Yeah, I can find things better in my book. All right, so let's read 27. Let me share this out. 37, I'm sorry. All right, so when it comes to these curses, Deuteronomy 28 and 37. reads, and you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, where Yahweh shall lead you. And that's us. What is some of these sayings? A proverb is, put something in the book. You put information in the book, black people are not going to read it. Other things, all we eat is watermelon and chicken, and byword, you know what that is, just calling us different names that they call us. Another one that we know is let's go to 46. And that's the curses, shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon your seed forever. So these curses is going to be on us forever. These signs are going to be on us forever. It's not going to be, a brief amount of time, and then you're going to inherit the land of Israel, in these last days, and everything is just going to be back to normal. No, that's not how it's going to work. This is going to be on us forever until YAHSHUA comes, and this earth is going to basically bow down to him, and he's going to set up his kingdom, the millennial kingdom. And then after his kingdom is Yahweh's eternal kingdom. All right. So with that said, I'm going to play this video one last time.
They look alike. They walk alike. They dress alike. They even rap alike. If you listen to their songs, those who are involved in the rap groups, they're killing what they see in the mirror. You know why? Because we failed them. We failed them. They don't love themselves. Because if they love themselves, they wouldn't shoot somebody who looked just like them, who act just like them, who walk just like them, who have the same swag that they have. They're killing themselves, brother. We got to teach them to love again.
We have to teach them to love again. Isn't that the second greatest commandment? We read that earlier. Of course, the first great commandment is to love Yahweh with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength. And the second one is to it, you should love your neighbor as you love yourself. And if you love yourself, you have that self-love. You have to give that self-love to your neighbor as well, to your brother, to your sister, to your parents, to your associates, to your friends. We have to love each other. We can't fake this. You have to really love. And love is an action word. Professing with the mouth is one thing. But in order to show love, you have to really live it out. You have to really do things to show that you love a person. That's like, be there for them, talk to them, assist them when they in need. If you got money or you got your last, give it to them if you can. And if you don't have any money, give them your time, assist them some kind of way. Or just open your ear to hear them, because everybody got a story to tell. Everybody got problems they're going through, especially in these last times. I got problems. I got problems I'm going through in my life right now. I don't care to speak on it, but I'm human too. I got things that's bothering me and that I got to deal with, that I got to pray about, and I'm pretty sure everybody else got problems too. Nobody's perfect, and not in this era, not in this lifetime. So we got to be there for each other and stop breaking each other down, and really turn to each other and turn to the Almighty, because we're going to need him and his son, YAHSHUA HaMashiach. With that said, let's give all praise and honor to the Almighty King, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, YAHSHUA HaMashiach, our light of the world, and our soon-to-come King, Redeemer, and Deliverer. Hallelujah. With that said, brothers and sisters, Yah willing, I'll see y'all next week. Shalom, shalom, shalom.